Guys, what is up? What is up, guys? I am here to drop another message for you guys that has been running across my brain lately. So, my message that I want to drop today is simply to be honest with yourself. Guys, being honest with ourselves is not the easiest thing to do. I am definitely a victim of lying to myself and telling myself things that are definitely not true. You guys have to know what is best for you, and you guys have to know, and like I said, be honest with yourself and tell yourself what things are good and what things are bad for you, and then move from there accordingly. It is not easy to do this because we have a self-protection. It's sort of like a security blanket that we put over ourselves to, of course, protect ourselves. If there's one person in this world that we are going to protect, it is going to be ourselves. So just remember that. Are you being honest with yourself about certain things, or are you just trying to protect yourself from the truth? Because again, we do know that the truth does hurt. Being honest with yourself and telling yourself the truth is not always easy, and it is definitely not always what we want to hear. You guys ever notice, like, when people are criticized for something that they definitely need to change, they get angry. They get angry because it's not what they want to hear. So you guys have to also tell yourself what you don't want to hear, because the only person that knows you as good as you know yourself better than anyone else is what I'm trying to get at. You know what you like, you know what you don't like, you know what's good for you, you know what's not. And you have to be honest with yourself and tell yourself, listen, like this is you talking to yourself right now. You're saying, listen, I know that this part of my life is not something that is helping me grow. It is not something that's helping me become a better person. So I have to make a change. And it's not easy. I've done it before. There are certain things that, listen, for example, like let's say you have a sort of an addiction to social media or Netflix or a TV show or whatever. If you are realizing that you are spending way, way, way too much time on this media outlet, whatever you're addicted to, and you're wasting a lot of your precious time that you're given, you have to be honest with yourself and say, I gotta cut back on the TV show. I gotta cut back on the social media. Whatever, I gotta cut back on the drinking. I gotta cut back on the smoking weed. I gotta cut back on it. And if you don't have that balance, the ability to balance things, like if you can't just watch TV for a half hour to an hour and then call it quits, like if you just sit there for hours and hours and hours, you don't have that balance. So you have to stop. And again, this is all trial and error. This is not something that you're going to pick up on the first go. You're going to fail, and you're going to go through things that you're going to have to make the decision eventually. So please evaluate yourself and understand what is good for you and what is not good for you. Because when you start to have this self-realization, you really start to make the decisions that are 100% going to benefit you and only you. And like I said, the most important part is just be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself because you want to protect your comfortability or your character. You gotta, just be honest with yourself in silence. You don't have to tell people. Just look yourself in the mirror and say, listen, you're watching too much fucking TV. Like, you gotta stop. You drink too much. You spend too much money. You smoke too much weed. You waste too much time. Just tell yourself. And if you realize that it's a problem, just try your best to make a change. It's not like you don't have to just snap your fingers and be, brought out of bondage. but just put the effort in to make that change. And I promise you, when you make that change and you make that decision, things will get a lot better for you. I promise you that. And if you're really having a hard time, you're really having trouble, just ask God. He will tell you, and he will show you the way that you need to go. And right when you start walking down that path, you will have realizations and blessings that will come your way, and your life will change for the better. You know, it sounds so simple, but it is a process. But if there's one thing that you guys can work on and put time into, put effort into, and have delayed gratification, if there's one thing that you're going to put a lot of time into, it's got to be yourself. It's got to be. Like, you put so much time into a job for someone else, you got to put that same amount of time in for you. It's your job to be a good person, and it's also your job to take care of yourself. So put in the same amount of effort and watch your life change. Peace out, guys.